Welcome into Rob Wright's Genetics Pop Culture, and today we're talking about the top hits from 1980. We're also going to give you some interesting facts about 1980 and history of music lesson for you coming down in this year. So I want to introduce my panel. Heather, how are you?
Hey Rob, doing great. Thanks as always for having me.
Yeah, glad to see you. Glad you're on here.
Looking
Agent
forward to some
Gypsy,
fun
yeah.
music.
Oh yeah, definitely some fun music for 1980. Yeah, I think you and I, as the two old ones on here, probably remember it better than the Agent Pepsi one and Tony Stark. But
Yeah.
but we will see. Agent Pepsi one, how are you?
I'm doing great. And what are you all talking about to remember this better? This is Agent Pepsi 1 - 4. So no, serious business, serious business. This is one of the best years for music. Just look at that chart. It's amazing. Hello, everybody in the chat.
Yes, folks. Just wait till next month when we do 1989. You'll get a lot of Pepsi rants.
Yeah.
All right, and then we've got straight from YouTube jail. Welcome, Tony Stark, Duck of Iron. How are you, buddy?
Broadcasting from YouTube jail, where I did a boo-boo on a stream, and they were like, it's yours truly, Tony Stark, ready to talk some music and hang out with my friends here today. I hope you all are having a wonderful and blessed day, and it's good to see everybody on the panel and in the chat.
Absolutely. So let's just give an overview of 1980 real quick. You know, I felt 1980 was kind of a transition. Did anybody want to comment on the transition before we get into these songs?
Well,
Go ahead.
Yeah, I would say 1980 is that transitional year, but it really started in '79. And they started moving in. You had punk. You still had some of that disco stuff hanging around. You still had some heavy metal. I mean, it just started, and it set the tone for what was to come in '81, '82, '83.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I feel like there's a lot of those disco, but they have a little more of a funk feel. A ton of Motown in the charts.
Yeah.
I feel like the disco was transitioning to be not quite so disco-y, but just a little more dance clubby. And then a very few songs have the synthesizer where you just start to see the kind of intro to that 80s kind of synth pop. And you get your splash of rock and roll songs in there, which is always nice. Not the hairband metal yet, just kind of still the old school rock and roll. So it's a good year. A lot of good mix. I like seeing all the different kind of songs in there.
Yeah, a lot of pop stuff. And then hail to the chat. So glad you guys are here with us. Say hi to Wes Cagle and SP4H and a few others that were here. Swift -1, I think, was in the chat for a minute. But yeah, SP4H brings up Led Zeppelin was still together. Yes, this was right before, unfortunately, John Bonham passed away, and we'll talk about that coming up when we do some of our segments. Hey, Skull of Calderon's Minion, thank you for joining us. Glad you're here.
He's the guy who makes sure that the toothpaste is delivered on time. It's an honorable job.
Oh yes, definitely. But anyway, let's get started and let's take a look at these 10 that we're going to start out with. Folks, we count them out 10 at a time here, and we start from 40 and work our way down. At number 40, Pop Music by M. Or Love by Kim Carnes comes in at 39. No More Tears, Enough Is Enough by Barbara Streisand and Donna Summer. Interesting duet there. Take Your Time, Do It Right, which sounds like something that my dad would always say to me, by the SOS Band. And then A Pair by Kool and the Gang. Yes, Too Hot, which a lot of people say that I am. And, of course, we wouldn't be Kool and the Gang if it weren't for Ladies' Night. Then we have an interesting country crossover, Coward of the County by Kenny Rogers. Very pretty song, Longer by Dan Fogelberg. Of course, one of the big breakout artists in 1980, Sailing by Christopher Cross. And we round out this 10 with Don't Fall in Love with a Dreamer. Again, Kenny Rogers and Kim Carnes. So who wants to talk about this set of 10 first?
Well, you know what? If you don't, I'll talk about it first.
Go for it, Agent Pepsi One.
I'm a chatterbox, but this is a great set. This is a really, really great set. Some things like Pop Music by M. That's actually a 1979 song, but it came late and charted here. And I think if it came in 1980, it would have charted a bit higher.
Mhm.
It is, however, something that's going to be around. Then you had Kim Carnes. Then you have this crazy duet, Donna Summer, the Disco Queen, and Barbara Streisand. Oh, come on now. What the heck? No. All right. So
Come
my
on.
sinuses are draining, but and stuff like the Town of the County, absolutely right. A beautiful song. And you had Sailing. Where is Ride Like the Wind? It is the same album.
Lower. Oh, higher.
Lower.
Higher.
It's higher. It's higher on the
Oh,
Higher.
list.
it's higher. Okay.
Yeah, higher up.
There.
Not to worry.
Not to worry.
Great stuff. I mean, Kim Carnes was in her prime, 1980, 1981. A lot of people don't like her voice, but she is an amazing artist, very musical. Again, a very interesting duet with Kenny Rogers. And, people don't know this man actually did rock and roll early in his career.
Mm-hmm.
You had the first edition, and he also
Yes.
did like psychedelic music. So,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this is
Yep.
great. I mean, I have nothing but good things to say about this. With
Yeah.
maybe the exception of the SOS band and the Barbara Streisand. Okay.
Oh, those are the good ones.
Yeah, but I mean, okay, no more tears.
Here we go.
It is not rock and roll. It is.
Here we
It's
go.
elevator
They're gonna
music.
start.
It's elevator music.
Oh.
Yeah, but Ladies' Night is great. County is great. Longer is good. I mean, all this stuff. Don't fall in love with a dreamer. It's beautiful. Pop music. I mean, great stuff. Great stuff.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's good. Good stuff. Who else wants to weigh in?
I'll
Yeah.
go.
Go ahead. You go ahead. Sark. Go ahead.
I'm a sucker for Motown, so anything that's funk and soul, and it's good to see the not one but two Cool and the Gang songs in this beginning of the list here. I love them
Ladies'
both,
Night.
but I like Ladies' Night
Ladies'
more
Night.
than Too Hot. But the Kenny Rogers, Coward of the County. I like Motown, but I like country too. So those are my favorites on this list so far. I noticed that SP4H in the chat's like Kim Carnes. Yes, Kim Carnes.
Yes.
He's right. I mean, he's right. Kim Carnes is amazing.
Yeah. And Wes Cagle also chimes in and says "Coward of the County" is the best song on the list. in
Yeah.
his opinion.
Yeah, it's good.
God,
It's
you
real good.
guys, man.
Oh wow.
No. New
All right.
York, London, Paris, Munich. Everybody talk about pop music.
Pop music.
Yeah. Boogie
Well,
with a
well.
suitcase.
think we
That's
know
a-
which
that's
one
a-
is Heather L's favorite.
That's an awesome song, and it kind of sounded like Rob wasn't too fond of it, but man, I love that sound, and it's kind of more of the start of that 80s synth pop sound. It's
Yeah.
not many of those yet on the chart, but I love it. And reading about this song, the original song when they did it more like an R&B type song, and their producer said, "Nah, you should try to use synthesizers instead of doing it that way." And I mean, to me, I think that's the secret sauce because I can't really imagine it as an R&B song, but I love that song. The Kim Carnes song, I don't know. I mean, it's a cover of a Motown song, but I don't know. I like Kim Carnes. To me, that song didn't hit. I love what I call Enough is Enough. I hate the change name to No More Tears. Like, I mean, so what that another song was called Enough is Enough. But I mean, Barbara Streisand, I'm not a huge fan of, but she's got a great voice. It's very distinctive. And then just boom, that disco beat kicks in. I love Donna Summer. I'm sorry, or not sorry. I don't know. I think it's great. But this was the first duet by two women to top the Billboard Hot 100. So I think that's kind of an interesting fact. Take your time, do it right. SOS band. I think that's a pretty good disco song. It was a huge disco hit. Nothing wrong, Rob, with taking your time and doing it right. That's definitely something everyone should do. And the song actually has a super cool bass line. The dun, 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 dun. That's the best part of the song. That really the cool bass intro. I'm sorry, on Cool and the Gang, man. Those things. Those okay, Ladies Night way overplayed for years, not only on the radio but like in every club, every ladies' night.
Yeah, I
Like
know.
still to this day. I mean, you in commercials, like you can't get away from it. So I take a pass on Cool and the Gang. I don't know, man. That's one of those.
I still
to
love
me,
you,
like,
Heather. It's
you
fine.
know, even aliens who occasionally visit the Earth have heard Ladies' Night. I mean, it's
Yes.
like it's too. It's just too much. I can't take it.
That's how they found out that Earth girls are easy. Am I right?
That is how they found out. That's crazy.
Yes.
Or
Sure,
Mars
lady.
Mars needs women, so they
That's
come
right.
down here on Ladies' Night.
That's it. That's it.
Coward of the County. I like Kenny Rogers, but again, I don't like that. There's an interesting story of that song, and maybe I don't know if you're going to tell it, Rob, but
No, go for it.
circle back. I think it's good. Just that the Gatlin brothers are another country group, and so the name of the antagonist, or the kind of not even antagonist, but kind of villains of the song, are the Gatlin boys. And it turns out that the writer of the song actually had a grudge against the Gatlin brothers, which, I mean, it's kind of lame because the guys in this song are horrible people. So I don't know. It was a little. It's kind of a strange twist or strange backstory of that. But Longer, I think, is a beautiful song. Dan Fogelberg. One note on that, he said he wrote the song while vacationing in Maui, and I loved his comment. He said, one night looking up at the stars, it seems like the song was drifting around the universe. It saw him and decided that he would give it a good home. I think that's just such a cool way to describe like a writing of a song, like when something just comes to you. Really cool. Sailing, I love Christopher Cross. Is a beautiful song. Don't fall in love with the dreamer. I'm not. I mean, Kim Carnes. I do like her, but I don't think that song's that one. That's it.
All right, so my turn, my take. So first off, Canadian Spider-Man's in the chat. Hail, Canadian Spider-Man.
Hey,
Peter
Canadian
Swift minus
Spider-Man.
one as
Hell,
well.
it's a
I
wrench
think-
party.
Yeah,
Yay.
definitely. And I think somebody had mentioned in the chat that pop music was overplayed on MTV. Yes, it was. And part of my issue with the song was it was overplayed, but also I distinctly remember, don't ask me how, because I've got the weirdest memory in the world. I remember all kinds of weird things. Ask any member of my family. I remember tripping and falling and hurting myself on roller skates when that song was playing. So yes, I blame the song rather than my own clumsiness, you know. Anyway, so unless you guys would laugh at thinking about me falling over on roller skates, but that's okay. Anyway, so yeah, pop music, it's okay. I mean, it just was overplayed. I'm not big on More Love by Kim Carnes. She's got a great voice and a lot of great stuff, but I wasn't impressed with it. Even listening to it again, it didn't hold up well. Enough is Enough by Barbara Streisand and Donna Summer. I'm not really good on that. Take Your Time, Do It Right, It's Okay by the SOS Band. I like Cool and the Gang. These aren't my two favorite songs by them because they're both kind of overplayed a bit, especially Ladies' Night. But Cool and the Gang's good. Coward of the County is an interesting song. I think it's a cool song. And it's got a good message to it. But, you know, to me, the next two songs are the best on this. Longer by Dan Fogelberg is absolutely a beautiful song. I don't think he gets enough credit for how great an artist he really is. This song and I think Same Old Lang Syne are two of the most prettiest songs that he's ever sang, along with Leader of the Band. And then Sailing by Christopher Cross from Austin, Texas. Just a beautiful, gorgeous song. I mean, the Grammys that year or the next year, 1981, he just swept them completely with that album that had Sailing, Ride Like the Wind, and a couple others. It just was amazing. And Dan, Christopher Cross is just phenomenal. If you've ever seen him live doing some of the songs, a lot of times he'll have that 12-string guitar playing it. And I love the opening to Sailing. I mean, it's just so beautiful. It's actually about painting rather than actually being on a boat. But it's really a pretty song. I love it. Don't Fall in Love with the Dreamer is a great crossover hit by Kenny Rogers and Kim Carnes.
Right.
And I think they do a great job. It's one that you don't hear very often anymore. But it's just fascinating. I think it's an interesting, duet. And we have several duets in this top 40 as well. So we've got 2 right here, but there are about to be a few more. So we're going to start a new segment coming up right here. And I want to introduce this. Basically, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be looking at the year in review. So we're going to talk about music news like you get from MTV for the whole year. And so in between these states, we're going to do January all the way through June. We're going to tell you about what happened in 1980. So let me kick it off with a little intro here. Now, I will say,
that was
cool. The archaeological digs for going back just 40 years. We may need to save that for the 70s or the 60s, but here we go. This is kind of the rundown. And I'm going to give you the rundown from January to March, and then Stark Byron's going to give you April through June, and we're going to kind of discuss some of these events that just stood out to us. So, January 1st, Cliff Richard's is appointed MBE by Queen Elizabeth II. January 5th, Donna Summer's 3rd album in a 14-month period. Oh my goodness, that's awesome. On the Radio, Great Hits Volume 1 and 2 was released. And
Yeah, that's a great album.
yeah, it is. All right, so January 7th, age of 44, Larry Williams, he was a songwriter, found dead in his LA home of a gunshot wound to the head. Investigators were never able to determine whether it was a murder or a suicide. January 13th, the Beach Boys, Grateful Dead, and Starship. Well, that kind of was Jefferson Starship. Perform a benefit at the Oakland Coliseum for people of Kampuchea.
Did they play White Rabbit? I'm kidding.
Probably did. I mean, it was 1980 and it's still popular, but I mean, you have the Grateful Dead, the Beach Boys, and Starship. That's an interesting combo there.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. January 14th, Rush releases Permanent Waves, which eventually becomes the band's 5th platinum album. January 16th.
Terrible.
Yeah.
Well, I don't like Rush, but that's okay. It's okay.
Man. We're going to have a conversation about that.
Sawyer?
Yeah. Sawyer? I mean, come on.
God.
Before we get to the 70s. January 17th, Paul McCartney is arrested in Tokyo for possession of half a pound of marijuana. The remaining part of McCartney's and Wings tour is subsequently canceled. Now, was it really Paul McCartney or was it Billy Shear? We'll never know. Anyway, January 19th, the first UK indie chart is published in Record Week. This is fun. Listen to Gary's Where is Captain Kirk? I want to listen to the song topping the chart. And Adam and the Ant, their White song topping the album chart. So we may have to visit Where is Captain Kirk? Just what kind of crazy song that is.
Hear that?
Yes. January 25th, following up on Paul McCartney, aka Billy Shear, aka Billy Paul McCartney, is released from jail in Japan and ejected from the country by Japanese authorities. February 7th, Pink Floyd's The Wall tour opens in Los Angeles Memorial Sports Arena. And if you even saw the movie or know anything about The Wall, that was a huge production, specifically by Roger Waters. February 19th, some very sad, tragic news. Bon Scott, leader of AC/DC, dies in London. Although common folklore says pulmonary aspiration or vomit, the cause of his death is thought to be alcohol poisoning and death by
Misadventure. That's a new one. I like that.
Wow. That is interesting. Yeah, unfortunately, he's not the only rock star to die of alcohol and that kind of thing this year in 1980. February 22nd, the 22nd Annual Grammy Awards are presented in LA, hosted by Kenny Rogers, Billy Joel's 52nd Street wins Album of the Year, which is a darn good album. I love that album.
It is.
While the Doobie Brothers, What a Fool Believes, which is a fantastic song
Love
and a
it.
good album, wins both Record of the Year and Song of the Year. Ricky Lee Jones wins Best New Artist. February 29th, Buddy Holly's trademark glasses and the Big Bopper's wristwatch are rediscovered in old police files by the Manson City, Iowa sheriff, which is interesting because both were killed in February of 1959 with singer Richie Valens. So, wow, that's
What kind
fascinating.
of trouble did they get in Mason City, Iowa, that the sheriff has their stuff?
I don't know why he's got Buddy Holly's glasses.
Yeah,
They survived the wreck. That's
I don't know.
that's most sad.
But
And
they got it. They got it like some, already
Yeah.
had it. Odd.
Yeah. So March 3rd of 1980, Sotheby's auction house in London auctions off a Rivera Hotel Las Vegas napkin signed by Elvis Presley for 500 pounds. Other items included American dollar bill signed by the Beatles for 22 pounds or 220 pounds. Wow, 22 pounds. Nothing.
Wow.
And
that's
a
nothing.
collection of personal letters belonging to the Rolling Stones, also for 220 pounds.
Oh my God. One of the best buys ever. All three. Like, what would that be going for today?
A lot more.
4 or 5 times that. Easy.
Oh my God.
Yeah, but that's 220 pounds in 1980. So,
Yeah, but still,
so I mean,
like,
that's like 1,000 pounds today.
celebrity stuff now goes for millions. Like anything that Elvis even touched.
Well, I guarantee you, the personal letters by the Rolling Stones included, "Let's spend the night together. Now I need you more than ever." But that remains to be seen.
Hey.
Anyway, March 8th through 16th of 1988, the Tbilisi Rock Festival was held, the first state-sanctioned rock music festival in the Soviet Union.
Привет, товарищ.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, you know,
March, go ahead.
Sorry, I have something to say about that.
Go for it.
You know, until 1987, when Uriah Heep appeared in the Soviet Union on a tour, what they hired was because rock and roll music was deemed to be how do they call it, subversive to Soviet youth. I think is the term they used. So what you had like third string acts, sort of like Taylor Swift would be. And
Ooh, burn!
you know, they
Burn!
would play there. I mean, no, seriously, you had stuff like better than Taylor Swift, like Boney M and stuff. They would play there. And you know, and they had a lot of indigenous stuff, but mind you, Tbilisi is in Estonia, and they were in the Baltic republics, and they never really got along with the Russians that formed the Soviet Union. So there is a production there, but mind you, there was not another festival until like the mid 80s, and then again 1987 when Uriah Heep was invited, and they were really the first major rock and roll band to tour the Soviet Union.
Yep. Interesting. Very interesting. Anyway, March 14th of that year, record producer Quincy Jones received a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. March 19th, Elvis Presley's autopsy was subpoenaed during the trial of Dr. George Nikolopoulos. Wow, try saying that 5 times fast. Who we later found guilty of giving the king too many prescription drugs, causing him to die where?
On the shit.
Yeah.
On the toilet.
And Jerry Lee. I didn't know Jerry Lee was also his client. Jerry Lee
Jerry
Lewis.
Lee Lewis was also.
The
Jerry
dude
Lewis.
was
I wonder if he had great balls of fire.
prescribing stuff all over
Yeah.
the place.
Wasn't he called Dr.
I
Feelgood?
lied.
What?
Wasn't he called
Yeah.
Dr. Feelgood?
I think so. I think
Yeah.
that's Dr. Feelgood, and it's also Swift -1. I think has it also. That's Dr. Nick. Hi, Dr. Nick. Hi, everybody.
Hi, everybody.
Which
Today,
interesting fact,
we are going to discuss weight gain.
yes, he actually in one of the Simpsons episodes, one of the early ones, it shows him in his fraternity days back in college, and he's wearing my fraternity's letters, which I was kind of shocked by, but among other things. And Reverend Lovejoy went to TCU, which is kind of funny too. All right. So in March of that year, March 20th, Radio Caroline shuts down in the UK after radio ship Mi Amigo sinks in a storm. So that's your pirate radio in the UK. There's an interesting story and interesting facts about that. There was even a movie about it. So any other things you want to discuss about January through March, you guys? I know we kind of stopped on a few of these, but were there any others that you guys wanted to talk about?
No, I mean, I'm good.
I mean, I was shocked that Paul McCartney was using drugs in Japan. I mean, really.
In Japan? Come on.
Because the
now.
Beatles
Paul
never
McCartney.
experimented. They were good, clean lads.
Well,
Yeah,
if John Lennon would have been caught with anything, anyone would have said yeah. But yeah, Paul McCartney, you get a little more surprised because he kind of seemed like a goody two shoes, but I'm sure he was doing all kinds of stuff too. I mean,
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Was it the real Paul McCartney or not?
Oh, let's not start that.
Yeah, we're not going to.
I will get the truth.
We're not going
for you.
to. It's Paul. It's Paul. I just joke about it because
I
I
will
know
get
some
the
people
truth
that
for
are
this. This
God.
conspiracy
that
will be debunked.
conspiracy.
that must
All
have
right.
been crazy at the time to see Pink Floyd. I mean, now we're used to it, but that wall,
Mhm.
the wall, just that
Yeah.
concert, that would have been amazing.
So I first saw The Wall in a theater class in high school. And I was like, okay, I know the songs, but I've never seen the movie. And whoa.
It's gnarly.
It's out there. It is out
Yeah,
there.
Bit
they're good
uncanny.
though. I saw the remaining members that they tour under Pink Floyd.
Mhm.
God, I don't know if it was 10, 15 years ago, a long time ago now.
Division
But
Bell.
they had a great concert.
Oh yeah. I love David Gilmour. He's got an amazing voice. I like him. Kind of like his stuff better than Roger Waters' stuff, but Roger Waters has a good voice too.
Yeah.
Dark of Iron, you want to talk about April through June?
In the year of our Lord 1980, April through June, on the 1st, hey, happy Fool's Day, Brian Johnson is made the new leader of AC/DC, replacing the late Bon Scott. You've been thunderstruck! On April 5th, REM lead vocalist Michael Stipe, guitarist Peter Buck, drummer Bill Berry, and bassist Michael Mills played their first show. This was before they were known as REM, mind you. April 13th, the musical Grease closes its run of 3,388 performances, making it the longest running show on Broadway up until that time. Grease lightning. On April 14th, a member of the New Jersey State Assembly introduces a resolution to make Bruce Springsteen's Born to Run an official state song. Iron Maiden releases their first self-titled debut album, and a legacy was forged.
That's the reason why we have Stark reading this portion, because it's one of his favorite bands.
And it's one is like top tier, yes. April 17, as the official guests of States, Bob Marley and the Wailers perform at Zimbabwe's Independence Festival. Marley calls the event the greatest honor of my life. April 19th, two things occurred. Johnny Logan wins the first 25th Eurovision Song Contest for the Rio land of Ireland with the song What's Another Year. And then REM performs their first performance under said name. And see reference above. In April 25th, Black Sabbath releases Heaven and Hell. That's right. The first to feature Ronnie James Dio on the vocals.
Not right. It's not Sabbath without Ozzy. I mean,
It's without Ozzy.
Dio, but
I miss him already. On April 30th, the Roger Daltrey film Mick Vigor opens up in London. On May 4th, America's Top 10, the television of radio's American Top 40, hosted by Casey Kasim, debuts this week in syndication. On May 18th, Ian Curtis, vocalist of the pioneering post-punk group Joy Division, hangs himself, unfortunately. That's terrible. One day before Joy Division are scheduled to begin their first United States tour. On June 25th, rock and roll pioneer Bill Haley performs for the last time during a tour of South Africa. After this tour, his health deteriorates and he dies in February 1981. July of 80 marks the 25th anniversary of Haley's Rock Around the Clock, reaching number 1 on the American singles charts. The Sony Walkman goes on sale in the United States. That is a pivotal moment in the industry of music. Yes. Being able to take pre-recorded music with you on the go. Up to this point, you had to have a massive, heavy unit that you would pack on your shoulder to play your cassettes. This was the beginning of a new age of miniaturization of our electronics and making music portable and accessible. Kiss plays its first show with the new drummer, Eric Carr, at the New York Palladium. Who's here in the Kiss Army? I'm in the Kiss Army. June 27th, John Lennon and Keith Levin of Public Image Limited make an appearance on The Tomorrow Show with host Tom Snyder. In a famously uncomfortable interview, Lennon gives curtain vague responses to most of Snyder's questions.
Johnny Rotten.
Yeah. Funny stuff. So in the chat, got some fun stuff. SP4H says, don't make any jokes about car bombs in a cartoon around Casey Kasem. That's
right.
Kind of a reference to Transformers. So just so you guys know that, if anybody was asking about that. Interesting stuff. Any comments about these? Bill Haley performing Rock Around the Clock for the last time. Kind of sad.
Very sad. I mean, the Walkman, that's like the key here. That changed all of our lives, man, having those Walkman. And God, now it's so easy with the iPods and the iPhones. And I just remember having the tape. I bought so many damn Walkmans. I probably kept Sony in business. They just would break, and then the tape, and you're trying to run with them, and they're heavy or work out. I don't know. The clip would break, and they'd fall off, and they'd tear the headphones out. But that's a great, fantastic invention.
And Heather, at times they didn't have like a locking mechanism at all for closing it either. So if you accidentally, when you're trying to run with it, if it accidentally turns the wrong way, the tape would fall out.
Yeah.
I remember having one in the early 90s, like 91. And my memories were that the batteries were constantly dead.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you would look like one tape and the battery be dead. And I remember my mom yelling at me, "Who do you think I am? My last name isn't Rockefeller."
Yeah. Then they came out with the rechargeable batteries, which didn't work that well, but you had to do that or buy giant battery packs. And then when they came out with the CD Walkman, it's like those things really ate the batteries and they skipped pretty easy. And
remember they would always have that label. They had that label. Oh, this is anti-skip. Tell that to me on the school bus going home. Okay.
Well, the only cool thing about the CD Walkman, though, is I connected it to my stereo that I have in my bedroom that's from like 1986.
Yeah.
And it worked. Yeah. And it was awesome because I had a CD player that I could play. And so I didn't use it as a Walkman. I just used it as my CD player. So,
yeah.
I'll tell you something funny that I found in my father-in-law's. My husband had a Walkman that he modified. And he said it was probably around 1983, 84. Where he went and he had this holder for 4 D-cell batteries. And he fitted it to the back. And I'm thinking, oh my God, this thing is like 5 pounds. What's the stuff? He said, yeah, but it was well worth it. The batteries didn't die immediately. So there you go.
Nice.
Yeah, like some people would go to.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, folks, let's get back to our countdown. All right, so let me get back on the slideshow and go to slide 2. Okay, so here's 30 through 21. So we've got Let's Get Serious by Jermaine Jackson. Cupid, I Loved You Long Time by the Spinners, which the Spinners were pretty awesome, and I think this is one of their last couple albums. This is It by Kenny Loggins. Biggest Part of Me by Ambrosia. No relation to Gary Ambrosia. Steal Away. Why Don't We Steal Away by Robbie Dupree. And then the song about Heather L. and Agent Pepsi 1, Sexy Eyes. We have at 24. Yes, I'm ready. By Terry DeSanto and Casey from Casey and the Sunshine Band. We had the Commodores coming in with Still. And then, Darling, you are my shining star by the Manhattans. And then finally, With You, I'm Born Again by Billy Preston.
Billy Preston.
Sarita.
Oh,
This,
Man. So, hey, Tony, do you want to
is
start off
like
on
my-
those 10?
This is Motown heaven right here. Man.
yeah.
Yeah, it is.
All right.
What does this have to do with rock and roll? I don't know.
All right, Tony, you go first this time.
Tony loves Motown.
I love
Yeah.
soul music. I love singing soul music sometimes. That's how I learned how to really hit higher notes and vibratos when I singing to like Temptations and Jackie Wilson and stuff. But Jermaine Jackson, I mean, that right there, that's just the legacy of the Jackson family. I mean, obviously, he never went as far as Mike. Personal favorite though, out of this one is probably I've Loved You for a Long Time by the Spinners. I love the Detroit Spinners. And whenever they played Rubber Band Man on Guardians, I about lost it. Or it was Infinity War. It was like just cruising in hyperspace to Rubber Band Man. I'm like, yes!
Doesn't this song have part of Sam Cooke's Cupid?
Huh?
Sam
Didn't this
Cooke,
have Cupid Loved You for a Long Time? Didn't it have part
Yeah.
of Sam Cooke's?
yeah, remake. He remade it and then added some.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then got to go with Shining Star. That's probably my
Yes.
favorite out of the whole list is
Yeah.
Shining Star. Great Motown selection here. You could definitely tell that there was a transition as we were discussing earlier. The experimentation of funk and late disco and going
Yeah,
into
true
a
enough.
more electronic sound, a more futuristic sound. You could definitely tell that this was the whimper of the style of the older musics. With this part of the top 40, but that's my 2 cents.
So let's go next.
Yeah, okay, I'll go next. Yeah, I mean, for me, the song that really stands out here is "Sexy Eyes" by Dr. Hook.
Oh, is it because your husband tells you have those?
Exactly.
When they're playing Doctor, is that? Yeah.
Whoa, TMI there, Heather. How do you know that?
Yeah.
I get the stethoscope too, but
Oh no.
what really stands out for me is that I'm not a big Motown fan. I mean, I like some Motown, but I'm not a big fan of it. But Sexy Eyes, I think it's great. Dr. Hook is one of those weird groups that was like they did lots of crossover things. Jermaine Jackson. I mean, I didn't know that song's actually by Jermaine Jackson. That it shows there. I mean, obviously, but I know the song. I'm not a big fan of the Jacksons, including Michael. But I do want to say something about what Tony brought up about the electronic music and the end of disco. There was, the Frankfurt sound. It's called, or the Frankfurt beat. I mean, that's a development of disco. So I mean, that's still with us. I mean, disco, if you think about it, is really fast dance music. I mean, it's still here now. It's electronic pop, but
Dance music just changed, right? It used to be disco. It had more instrumental. I think the better thing about disco was it had actual musicians playing it, right? Like people could play it on the guitar and the bass. And they had some symphony stuff in it. Now dance music is just like boom, 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 but synthesizer machine and kind of monotonous. But
the future, it was the sound of the future. It was music for robots.
Well, I mean, there were some groups from I think the Netherlands called the Rockets. In this time period, they did this sort of stuff. But now there's a difference between the Frankfurt sound and say house music, which is completely different. But I mean, none of these none of these 10 really inspire me. Like I said, Sexy Eyes is nice, and you know, 20 and above is really good though.
Yeah, and I think "Sexy Eyes" was one of the last hits for Doctor Hook and the Medicine Men.
I really
Yeah.
feel
I mean, you definitely nailed it when you called him weird because those are some weird looking dudes. Watch
Yes,
like on YouTube, watch the video of them playing this song live. There's a dude on the maracas and he's just like going to town and
he's got the
it's
eye patch and the cowboy hat too.
yeah, he's got an eye patch. It's just hilarious. I mean, yeah, the weird is
yeah, I mean,
definitely it.
my introduction to Dr. Hook was a cover of the Rolling Stone. I
Uh,
love that song.
yes.
You know, yeah, I bought 13 covers for, 13 copies for my mother too, and stuff like that. I mean, that was just great.
Hmm.
But
My
but you
introduction to Doctor Hook is "When You're in Love with a Beautiful Woman."
Oh yeah,
wait
Mhm.
a
yeah,
minute, that was Dr. Hook.
Yeah, that's Doctor Hook and the Medicine
Oh
Men.
my God, I
yeah,
didn't know that. I did not know that.
Hmm.
yeah.
Yep. All
There's
right,
some
Heather, what's
odd
your
dudes.
thoughts on these 10?
Um, Jermaine Jackson. I mean, I don't know. I actually like the Jacksons and I like Jermaine. I don't know. I'm not that into that song. The Spinners, I really like that. They made like a disco sounding cover of the
Mm.
Sam Cooke song, and
Yes.
I do prefer the original. I love that song, but the Spinners really did their own twist. They added some parts, and I like them. It's a good cover. Kenny Loggins, This Is It. To me, the highlight of that is Michael McDonald's background vocals, which I mean, Michael McDonald has such a just
Oh
fantastic
my
voice
God,
that
yes.
anything he's singing on is just outstanding. Um, I think that won a Grammy. That song,
Mhm.
pretty good. It's pretty good. It's not the best, but I like it. Um, Biggest part of me is it's a sweet song, not as cheesy as some from that era. It's just okay. What else? Oh, this was funny. Steal Away. I couldn't remember it, so I listened to it and then I kind of looked up the backstory on it, and they said, and I don't know if this is true, that it's they got accused of ripping it off of What a Fool Believes by Michael McDonald. And
Mhm.
so then when you listen to the music, it actually does the music part sounds just like What a Fool
Mhm.
Believes. But like without Michael McDonald's voice, like I think that's why I kind of never put two and two together because McDonald is just like god tier singer and
Mhm.
Steal Away was just okay on the vocals, but yeah, interesting story that they got sued over that. Yeah, Dr. Hook just weird. It's just kind of weird. I mean, when you hear him sing, you just hear him sing, but then you look at him, it's like, holy cow, there's some
Yeah, I mean,
oddballs.
they look like a garage band. They really do. That would that would like appear like in some bar, like in someplace in like rural Ohio, someplace.
You're right. It'd be like tropical night when you're like out, in the middle of nowhere in Nebraska, and these dudes are like,
Yeah,
"Hey, it's
exactly.
margarita night," and Doctor and they got the maracas going.
Yeah, I mean,
Oh,
oil field workers by the day and musicians by night.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Well, I mean, they're from like New Jersey, but they look almost like they're from the South. They act like they're from the South, and then they play music that's kind of
It's
That's
just,
nuts.
kind of
yeah,
soft rock, and you're just like, what? It's so
yeah,
confusing. What are you trying to be?
yeah. God. Shining Star is a great song. I love that. The Manhattans. Um, Definitely. I think that's probably my top out of this bunch. The With You I'm Born Again, I played that and I kept waiting for something to happen. I was just like, it's boring.
Yeah, I mean,
Oh, yeah, nothing
yeah,
happened,
but I mean, you wouldn't think of Billy Preston singing though. I mean,
I
I
guess.
just don't, I just don't see it. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just,
No.
It just was boring to me. I felt like nothing happened in the song. Same with, I mean, Yes, I'm Ready. It was kind of meh too. So those two didn't do much for me. That's it, I guess. Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
I guess
So
Shining Star is the best one for me.
yeah, the Jermaine Jackson song, I listened to it again. I just didn't think it was that great. Love Cupid, loved you for a long time. And the Spinners, Spinners are great. Yeah, Kenny Loggins, This Is It, I think is a good song. He and Michael McDonald combined on like 3 or 4 other songs that were all just hits. And Kenny Loggins talked about this that they just collaborated on 1 or 2 songs, thinking that hey, let's get together and do this. And they didn't think these were going to hit songs, and they turned into hit songs, and it took off from there. And it was just like one of the beginnings of Kenny Loggins as an artist, and we now know him as Soundtrack Kenny. But this started to really launch his career, and it's amazing how many wonderful songs Michael McDonald just sings background on. It
Yes.
just shows how talented Michael McDonald was and
And
is.
the dude, like, does he have no ego? Because he's just like the most incredible singer
Oh yeah.
ever, and he's singing background on, everyone else's songs. It's just
So one of the most
incredible.
interesting songs, segue on Michael McDonald real fast here. There is a song that not as many people know. It's by Toto, which is another band that does a lot of background stuff that doesn't get enough credit. But I'll Be Over You, he sings background on that song. Go find that song, Toto, I'll Be Over You.
Okay.
Beautiful, gorgeous song. Funny video because they're singing it on the roof and then it starts to rain and they all run back in. But Michael McDonald sings background on that, and it's just such a beautiful song, and he does really well on that. Biggest Part of Me by Ambrosia. Ambrosia is your yacht rock, your early 80s rock. It's a good song. It's kind of a mellow song, and I think it's really pretty. Steal Away is a catchy song, but it's because it does sound like, yeah, exactly. It sounds just like the Doobie Brothers. I think we've already covered enough of Sexy Eyes. I didn't remember that song until I listened to it again. I'm like, oh yeah, I remember that song, but it's just like you don't know that it's called Sexy Eyes. It's just weird. Ladies, are you ready? Never mind. You didn't respond. Ladies, are you ready? Yes, I'm ready.
Yes, I'm ready. No, because I don't like that song. It's easy, man.
It's an okay song, but I think Casey the Sunshine Band was going downhill, and I just don't. It's an okay song, but it's overplayed. The Commodore still is a good song. It's not their best, and this is one of the last. I think it's the last album that Lionel Richie was on before he went solo. For the Commodore.
Yeah, I do like Lionel Richie singing on that song.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he sings it really pretty. With You I'm Born Again, didn't strike me either. But Shining Star, I agree with. It just takes the cake on this. I love that song. It's just a real pretty song, which is why I attempted to sing it when we got to it. But it's just a real beautiful song. And with the transition, you see the transition with Motown, and we're getting into pop, and we're getting into a couple other things. But you'll find that, like we said at the beginning, 1980 just had all this mix in this top 40 and even in the top 100, as we'll get to soon enough. But let's get back to.
Hey, I have one more.
Go ahead.
Rob, this is what you said about Casey of the Sunshine Band. When you said they're going downhill, I just pictured this Pinto station wagon with the wood grain stickers on the side. They're going off the side of a cliff.
Well, are you sure it was a Pinto and not a Rolls can hardly?
Yeah, no, I think it's a Pinto for them.
Are you sure? Because it sounds like a Rolls can hardly. Rolls down one hill, can hardly get up the next.
Yeah, I got it.
Thank you. I'll be here all night. All right, let's get back.
You've been hanging around the squid too much.
Oh yeah, I have. Him and Larry Dracula. So we'll talk more about that later, though. All right, let's go back into our years in music review.
No time for love, Dr. Jones.
Yep. Heather, take it away with July through September.
Love that. All right. July 11th, Ultravox released their 4th studio album, Vienna. Okay. Their first album with new lead singer Midge Uri Following the departure of frontman John Fox and guitarist Robin Simon, Vienna marks a radical shift in Ultravox's direction and image, transforming
Mhm.
the former post-punk band into a more sophisticatedly
Oh
oriented new
yeah.
wave synth pop group. Despite the stylistic shift alienating fans and critics who were more favorable towards the Fox-led incarnation of the band, Vienna would go on to become Ultravox's most successful studio album to date. Sounds like Pepsi's a fan. Agent Pepsi 1.
Oh my God, Ultravox during that period. They had this one, and then they had a quartet from '83. No, I'm sorry, '82. Those were amazing, and then they kind of went downhill again.
Wow, I haven't listened to too much of them, so I'll have to
Yeah,
check that out.
yeah, they are very precise in what they do. I mean, they're superb musicians.
Interesting. I will
Mhm.
have to listen to that. July 18th, the documentary and concert film No Nukes opens in New York. July 25th, over 5 months after the death of lead singer Bon Scott, AC/DC releases Back in Black, their first album with replacement singer Brian Johnson, who would remain with the band until 2016. The album's success would lead it to become the second highest selling album of all time and the highest selling studio album of any by any band to date, which
Great
is
album.
why it's criminal that none of these AC/DC songs are on the chart. Like,
I
this
agree.
is just BS, right? They do it on radio play, and radios don't play hard rock songs, but it is the biggest seller of all time. And this album is just an absolute classic. I mean, Back in Black, You Shook Me All
Mhm.
Night Long, Hell's Bells. I mean, there.
Oh
I don't think
yeah.
there's a bad song on that album. It's just, it's awesome.
Yeah, it's a great song.
Oh yeah,
Good
that and
album.
the other thing about it is like using those as intros for like sports and stuff. That got those are kind of sort of some of the arena rock songs as well, used
Yeah.
all over the place.
Mhm.
You
Dun,
know.
da da da, da da
Oh
da.
yeah. Oh
Da-na-na-na-na.
yeah.
Yeah. The
Yeah,
best
it was
guitar riff of all time, right? It's
my
just great.
senior year that my college football team came out to Back in Black in all new black uniforms, and
Oh, cool.
it was pretty cool. It was pretty awesome. So,
Very cool. All right, July 29th. Over 2 months after the suicide of lead singer Ian Curtis, the surviving members of Joy Division regroup as New Order. Oh, no, I didn't know that. And debut anonymously live at Manchester's Beach Club. The group would adopt the moniker New Order the following year. July 31st, the Eagles end their tour with a contentious show. They would not
Mhm.
play together again
Oh
until
yeah.
1994. And
yeah,
I saw their Hell Freezes Over tour in
me too.
1994. Yeah, in Miami. It was awesome.
I saw it here in Dallas. I will tell you guys all about that date at another later time, but let's talk about what happened here.
All
So,
right.
History of the Eagles has the document on this. So if you go watch that documentary on the Eagles, which is pretty awesome, they tell you everything. History of the Eagles. Basically, what happened is they were doing a fundraiser for the governor of California, and Don Felder, they weren't getting paid for it. And Don Felder was like, whatever, what am I doing here? He's the only one that wasn't appreciative of the governor at the time. And they're on stage and they're almost done with their set. And on stage, he and Glenn Fry are going back and forth, going at it. I'm going to freaking kill you, man. As soon as the thing's done, they're just cussing each other out. And Joe Walsh is like, whoa, dude, this is real. Of course, he was probably doing, oh, man, this is real for other reasons too, but we won't get into that. Anyway, so what happened is they were going to fight right after it. So after the set, Don Felder runs off the stage, goes backstage, smashes his guitar, and jumps in his limo and drives off before
Wow.
Glenn Fry could even catch him. And basically, the band kind of broke up right after that with those kind of disputes. And kind of, what had happened really, I mean, with the Eagles, and we could talk about this in the 70s when we get to the Eagles, is that Hotel California was their best album and probably their biggest selling album. And it was hard to top that. And it got hard to match the success. And I think you had also division in the band where Glenn Fry and Don Henley were kind of the leaders of the band, and rightfully so. They sang all the songs, and it caused friction with Don Felder, and occasionally Felder would bring in Joe Walsh on his side. So you had a lot of creative friction within the band that caused it to kind of break up. And this was their last concert before they broke up until 1994. And they got back together, and I saw the awesome concert in 94 on July 2nd in Dallas, Texas, at Texas Stadium. And the Hell Freezes Over album came out on my birthday of that year.
Oh, nice. Cool.
Yep,
Good birthday
present to myself. Yep.
Yeah, I think bands just break up. There's an expiration date on everything, and people
Mhm.
try to pinpoint a reason. But when you're spending that much time with other people, like touring together, and they see each other every day, recording together, and
Yeah.
I mean, it just gotta, after a while, you're gonna just get sick of each other, I think is, you know,
But
whatever the details are.
Yeah. How on earth the Rolling Stones have stayed together for so long, I have no idea.
Can't
but
stop Rolling Stone. Heard my papa tell me that once.
but with a lot of bands, it's also about egos.
Mhm.
And I think with the Eagles, I mean, it was Glenn Fry and Don Henley. I mean, they were being promoted. They're being pushed. They had this. They had this. And the others were kind of in the background. I mean, same
Mhm.
thing with the Beatles. I mean, why did the Beatles break up if you think about it, at the height of their success? It's because the friction between egos.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Yeah. Well, I
You know,
thought
but,
that
but
if you watch that behind the scenes documentary, a little off topic, but they were really a dick to George Harrison. Like, whenever
Oh
yeah.
he
yeah.
tried to bring something up, Paul was kind of like, talk to the hand. We don't care about your ideas. And
I mean, I
um,
mean,
yeah.
think about Deep Purple when it was always with Richie Blackmore playing guitar, and why did they go through so many lead singers? And finally, when Blackmore walked off the stage, I want to say that was in '93. He said, they said we don't want to work with him anymore.
Right.
And
Yeah.
and then
Well, I mean, it's just like Lindsey Buckingham getting kicked out of Fleetwood Mac recently.
Yeah.
They just got sick of him. And to be honest, Lindsey Buckingham at certain points in their history kept the band together and kept them going. So, I
Yeah.
mean, it just happens. And I think the Eagles were at their boiling point at this point. So,
oh,
um,
absolutely.
but speaking of Beatles, I think Heather, the next
Yeah.
one.
Oh, yeah. Starting again, August 4th.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
John Lennon, yay, and Yoko Ono begin the recording of the double fantasy album.
Go to love Yoko.
Oh my gosh. Did she yodel on that album?
Oh,
He did.
it's just
Oh
painful.
My
God,
favorite-
Yoko Ono,
My favorite Yoko Ono joke has to be from Animaniacs. Whenever all she did was
Yes.
Please. Oh, good grief. We could do without her. August 16th, the first Monsters of Rock Heavy Metal Festival, yeah, is held at Donington Park
Yes.
in England. Great, and still a great festival for years. Rainbow headlined, and Judas Priest, the Scorpions, April Wine, Saxon, Riot, was that Quiet Riot? And Touch also performed. That was what a great lineup to see. Several bands lose members in one day. Bass player Ya Wobble, I don't know that. Leaves Public Image. I don't know that band. Keyboard player Jules Holland leaves Squeeze, and drummers Bill Ward and Cozy Powell leave Black Sabbath and Rainbow, respectively. Interesting. Yeah, Bill Ward was kind of in Ozzy's camp, and when Ozzy got booted, he wasn't that happy anymore.
Yeah, but Powell didn't leave Rainbow. He was kind of dismissed in
Mm,
Blackmore. And
yep.
the thing is, from what I have read, is that Richie Blackmore was extremely cheap with a band member.
Oh no.
I mean, to the point where they had to share like Motel 6 rooms.
Ah.
Oh gosh.
Mm.
Oh.
I mean, that's according to Dio.
Jeez.
That is according to Dio.
That's
I
probably
mean, he
true.
was extremely cheap with him. Like he paid him like $300 a month or something like that. I
Wow.
mean, it's just insane.
That is lame. Wow.
Crazy.
August 19th, fans at Exhibition Stadium in Toronto staged a riot after Alice Cooper cancels because of an illness. Wow. There's a lot of that histories of, bands not going on and fans rioting, which, scary. August 23rd, the Heatwave Festival near Toronto features the B-52s, Talking Heads, the Pretenders, Elvis Costello, and many others. So
Oh
this
wow,
is
that's
kind of the
interesting.
start of these big concerts with multiple headliners. I feel like, you
Yes.
had Woodstock, but then you don't have it for a while, and then it starts becoming a big deal in the 90s. But this is kind of where this starts up this year.
Yeah, but after Woodstock, you had Altamont Speedway in
Yeah.
California, and I
Hmm.
think that really, put a damper on things
Yeah,
with this big
We
yeah,
had
festival.
Texas Jam here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. Um,
yeah. It just became a really big thing in the 90s with all these different, big
oh
touring
yeah,
music festivals kind of based on the genre of music.
yeah, like
Uh,
Lollapalooza and some of those.
yep, yeah, for sure. September 13th, this is a highlight. Solid Gold, a new music television series, premieres in syndication. Like, okay, you gotta love the Solid Gold dancers. That was, I
Yeah,
don't know if you ever saw that, but that's Solid Gold, man. I used to watch that. Could take down the top 10. Awesome show.
Yeah, you're
Good
not going to
stuff.
talk about Karen Carpenter?
No, you
no,
can pass. Was her famous quote, "You can never be too rich or too thin"? That's good. That's bad taste, but okay. Anyway, Elton John plays a free concert for 400,000 people in New York's Central Park. He performs the encore in a Donald Duck costume.
Oh my gosh, you got to see
Uh,
the
okay.
video for that. That's awesome.
yeah, is that noteworthy? Karen Carpenter marries Thomas Burris because we are in
No,
That's
love.
the only reason why I brought it
that
up.
is not
I
noteworthy.
mean,
Not
okay,
really noteworthy, but
okay. Like, why is that in the news?
don't
But
know.
okay, anyway.
Karen
It's
who?
before she died, though. So
Kara Carpenter before she had anorexia. Yeah.
yeah,
We said Elton John. He performs the encore in a Donald Duck costume. Okay, come on. Like this was a low point for Elton John, I think. Like not a good album this year. I think this was kind of his B tier album, and
I think it
I
was
Yeah,
don't know
I
what
without
that
mean,
was
Bernie,
all
right?
about. He was without Bernie at this
Yeah,
stage, so
yeah.
yeah. Gary Newman earns his third consecutive number one on the UK albums chart in less than 14 months as
hmm
Telecon enters the chart at number one. Good stuff.
hmm
September 25th, John Bonham, so sad, drummer of Led Zeppelin, is found dead by bandmate John Paul Jones. And then the end of Led Zeppelin, which, John Bonham, just an
Mhm.
incredible drummer, amazing, and another sad alcohol story.
Yeah. I mean, he just as we described Bon Scott's passing. That's how John Bonham passed away too. Very very sad. Uh, apparently he told the guys, "Hey, I'm going to go lie down," and um, nobody thought of anything because he was a wild man. He was a wild partier and drinker, and he passed away. His gift was passed on to his son though, who's pretty good too. So Jason Bonham.
Yeah.
So
He's really good. He is very good.
yeah, and this is after In Through the Outdoor, and basically after this, they just um, Jimmy Page just put together the rest of it, and I think Coda came out not long after this, which is a mix of their last stuff. So
Yeah.
cool.
Good stuff. I saw Page and Plant too when they did that orchestra tour. They
Yeah.
yeah, that was interesting.
Did you what'd you think of Kashmir, the redone of Kashmir?
I don't like it as well as the original.
Me either.
But that was an interesting album that they put out with that. There were a
Mhm.
couple of good songs on it. I mean, to me, just the live show was interesting because they had the big
yeah.
kind of orchestra with them and stuff. But as
Mhm.
it's a new take instead of just playing Led Zeppelin songs again with a replacement drummer, which I think they didn't want to do. But yeah, I mean, I don't think the songs were as good, but it was a really good, live show. I liked it.
Yeah, that was the Unleaded album, and they
Mhm.
did they basically did a few Led Zeppelin songs on that, but not all of it was Led Zeppelin. It was some new stuff too, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it was some new stuff. They had
You remember,
there were a couple of good new songs on there.
yeah, do you remember any of the Led Zeppelin songs they did in concert?
I couldn't
That's
tell you. Too long
Okay,
ago.
too long ago. I was going to say that the funny thing is that Robert Plant, the one Led Zeppelin song that he doesn't like and then he won't perform anymore, is "Stairway."
Oh, interesting.
Yeah,
He's probably sick of it, right? Because they did it
yeah.
so much.
I think
Yeah.
he actually likes "Cashmere" better than "Stairway," and "Stairway" is the favorite of Jimmy Page. So
That's because he gets the long guitar part.
no kidding. Oh my gosh, and that he gets to plug it in. So
Yeah. Yep.
yeah. Oh, SP4H corrects me. Coda was released in '82. Thanks, SP4H. Appreciate that.
Yeah.
And then Jason Bottom, Swift Minus Wrong, has played in so many groups. Yeah. So there's a live version of the Page Plant tour from '95 that Swift Minus One says is incredible. So
Yeah, interesting.
yep. All right, Agent Pepsi One, you want to take it away with October through December of that year?
Okay, I will. And just to let you know that I'm reporting the truth as I see it. So let me see. On the 9th of October, this riot breaks out at a Black Sabbath concert in Milwaukee after the bassist Geezer Butler is hit in the head by a bottle and quits. As the band quits the stage. I mean, that's understandable, I think. But I
Yeah.
mean, what kind of venue were they playing? I mean, I don't want to know. I don't want to know. Okay, like the Blues Brothers.
Yeah, that's exactly what I thought of the Blues Brothers, and they're playing at the bar that they're doing and getting stuff thrown in them. Would
Okay,
they the Black Sabbath, the good old boys?
Yes.
yeah. Then on October 26th, Paul Kantner of Jefferson Starship is rushed to the hospital following a cerebral hemorrhage, but he soon recovers without surgery, defying medical odds. Yeah, I mean, normally you die from these things, I understand.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Sometime in October, Iron Maiden replaces guitarist Dennis Stratton with whatever that is, URCHIN
Urchin.
guitarist Adrian Smith. And the 21st of November, which is interesting because that's my mother's birthday, Iron Maiden played their first gig with the new guitarist Adrian Smith in Oxbridge, England. And on December 4th, Led Zeppelin disbands following the death of John Bonham. But I am a Zeppelin fan, so please take it with that when I say this. But at that point in their career, their career was also going downhill rapidly.
Oh, you didn't like In Through the Outdoor?
I did not. I like the early stuff. I mean, till about Zeppelin 4.
Oh yeah. Led Zeppelin 3 is underrated, but Led Zeppelin 4 is good.
Yeah, I mean, Battle of Evermore is my favorite.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just their last album. Their last album wasn't good, but I like most of the others.
Yeah, I mean, they were still a good band. I mean, no doubt. One of my favorites, Duran Duran, signed with EMI after finalizing its lineup and touring as a support act for Hazel O'Connor. Who is Hazel O'Connor?
I don't know, but we know Duran Duran. That's funny that they were supporting someone at one time that we've never heard of.
It's sort of like Taylor Swift,
A British singer-songwriter. Interesting.
Never heard of that. On December 7th, one of these crazy days, Darby crashed. What a great name. The leader of the LA punk band, the Germ Reactors, dies of a heroin overdose in a suicide pact. Okay.
He's cute.
On a very sad note.
Yeah.
Although I am not a John Lennon fan, but this is still sad.
Oh.
He was shot to death outside of his apartment in New York City. And starting over, subsequently becomes the #1 hit in many countries, including the United States, the United Kingdom, and Australia. And I think it's not because it was such a great song, but simply because of the notoriety of his death.
I think that propelled the album sales on that, and it's just really sad about that. I've been in New York and I've seen the spot where he passed away, and it's just. It's funny because Monday Night Football was going on during that, and they announced it during Monday Night Football. and that was the big deal that a lot of people remember from that. But it just was really, really awful, really sad to have that happen. I mean, it's happened right outside his apartment building. I mean, apparently,
Right.
the guy who had shot him asked for his autograph. Yeah, I asked for and got his autograph before in the morning when he went to go to the studio with Yoko, and he was coming back from the studio that evening, and then was shot.
Yeah, it's
So,
Mark David Chapman, who actually a friend of mine was friends with Mark David Chapman when they were growing up, like when they were
oh
young.
wow, interesting.
Knew him really, really well. And he was obsessed with Lennon for a long time, like a really long time. He almost wanted to be him. And he was also into the religion where you like talk to snakes and speak in tongues. And so when John Lennon had said like they were more popular than God, I think that kind of started setting him off to turn like from worshiping him to against him. But
Yeah,
he had been so obsessed with them his whole life, she said. Like, I mean, even more so than what's you hear in the media. He was just, turned from worshiping him almost to then a negative against him.
But you have many celebrities that are worshipped by, let's say, mentally unstable people.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, I guess it's a part of being one of these mega celebrities.
Right.
Yeah, Agent Pepsi One, you probably got a lot of experience with that. I mean, with all the people that worship you. I mean,
yeah, right. All the people that hate me. Yeah, so I have to look, twice and three times, and but I will continue. On December 14th, over 100,000 mourners attend a vigil for John Lennon in Central Park, New York. And again, I mean, it sounds like a lot of people. It sounds like a lot of people, but it really isn't. You have a city of 8 or 9 million, that has major airports, people coming basically from around the world to see this, diehard fans. So, I mean, the
but
popularity was also on the vein.
In
Go ahead.
1980, though, I mean, New York was not what it is today. I mean, it had been kind of seedy in the 1970s and downhill, so it wasn't really a tourist spot so much at that time, and
Okay.
people didn't travel as much. It wasn't as common as it is now. So, I mean, I don't think that you would
Okay.
get
I
as
mean,
many
that's
people coming from other places like you would today.
okay. I mean that's fair enough. That's fair enough. Yeah, but still, I would think, like a major celebrity, you would have
Yeah.
more. But then again, I mean, this is a time before you had the internet, before you had all the social media.
Mm.
I mean, okay. I mean, that's good. And then, of course, on December 31st, you had the 9th annual New Year's Rockin' Eve special that airs on ABC. Wait a minute, is that still okay? I didn't
yeah.
even know that. I didn't know that was still around. But
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you have the Charlie Daniels Band, Billy Preston, whoever this next person is.
Sarita.
Yeah, I
I
don't
have
know.
no idea. Chuck Berry, who I met,
Oh, cool.
Nice.
and that Barry Manilow,
Very Manilow.
who had a string of hits, but that was back in 1976. But that's okay too. Yeah. So there's your year in overview, and I'm just going to do the next one. Also, 1980. Roland Corporation releases a drum machine.
Mm-hmm. That was huge. That was huge.
Yeah, the single "Groovy Ghost Show" by Casper. What kind of crap is? Never mind. Never mind. Okay. The last one is important. Phil Collins signed the contract with Atlantic Records to distribute his solo records in the U.S. and Europe, outside of the U.K. So there you go.
Yeah.
Interesting stuff. Interesting stuff.
Yeah, very interesting stuff.
Yeah.
Folks in the chat, do you like us running down some of the stories of the year that we're reviewing? Let us know in the chat if this is a segment we should keep or not. Because I think it's a pretty good segment. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I think
it shakes things up.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a good segment.
Yep. All right. Let's get into our top 20 and we'll go count down from 20 to 11. All right. So, you know it's you, babe. Babe by Styx, which has criticism, has love. It was number 20. Probably the last of the top hits by Casey and the Sunshine Band with Please, Baby, Please Don't Go. Dinah Ross sings Upside Down. Not literally,
Yeah.
but the name of the song is Upside Down. Maybe she was the first to dance on the ceiling. We don't know. Christopher Cross with another song off that wonderful album, Ride Like the Wind.
Oh my God, yes.
Elton John with Little Genie. Then, ladies, we get into the great romantic group Air
Oh.
Supply,
Oh God.
Lost in Love. Lost in Love by Air Supply at number 15. Another Spinners album where they're taking some old songs and making them new. Working my
Yep.
way back, Forgive Me
Up to you.
Girl. Yep. And then Cruisin' by Smokey Robinson, one of his last hits. We mentioned Gary Newman in our pop hits in it. We've got him with Cars. And then rounding out the top 20 at number 11, the first hit of 1980. And when the calendar flipped over, this was number 1. We've got Escape, the Pina Colada song. And
Oh.
guys, I'll post the question: do you like pina coladas?
No.
I mean,
like
everybody
getting
likes
caught
pina
in the
coladas,
rain.
right?
Getting caught in the rain, man.
Oh,
Totally.
man.
I'm
Without a
not
rain
into
coat.
health food, but I am into champagne.
Yeah, okay, that's true. That's true.
Yep.
Like making love at midnight.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. And getting caught in the rain.
Sure.
Yes.
Are you into yoga and health food? Do you have a brain?
Yes.
You know, I do yoga sometimes, but I'm not good at it.
It
I'm
helps
not into
stretching.
it.
When you get older, you need some yoga moves.
Yeah.
But who wants the first crack at this 10?
Oh.
Oh, I want to hear Agent Pepsi 1 go on a rant. Go for it.
Oh
Okay.
God.
Here you have my rant. Here you have my rant. You know, I'm a Styx fan, but Babe is not one of my favorite songs. Casey and the Sunshine Band. I mean, y'all, you know, this was right. This was right before the Pinto station wagon they were riding in impacted on the bottom of the ravine. I mean, what the? Oh Jesus! I mean,
It's a horrible song. It really is.
yeah, but it's at number 18. Who in the right? Oh God! You know, but I'd much rather hear them than say, you know, this. Yeah, never mind, Matt G. Okay. Now my favorite song on here is "Ride Like the Wind," which is amazing. And again, Michael McDonald.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, you have Little Genie, who is, you know, that's a nice one too. Lost in Love. I love that. And you have the Spinners. Working my way back to you, Forgive Me, Girl. I mean, yeah, it's not rock and roll. But you know what they really meant by Forgive Me, Girl? It was, you know, the Spinners were talking to Taylor Swift. They said, Forgive me, girl. I know
You know,
talent when
working
I
my way
hear it,
back
and
to
you're
you,
not
girl,
it.
is Frankie Valli and the Four Seasons. So
Yeah, it was a Frankie Valli song, but
Yeah, I mean, I don't remember Cruising. I can't place that. And of course, Cars is a song that is ubiquitous. And
here
here you
in
have
my
the,
car,
yeah. Here
yeah,
in
I
my
mean,
car.
here in the video to
It's
that
second one.
is unusual.
Yeah.
You know, and then of course you have Escape, the Pina Colada song. I'm not a fan of it, but you know the lyrics are really good.
It's a cheating song.
You
It
know, I
is
mean,
a cheating song.
you know, times have changed where you put an ad in a newspaper,
Mhm.
and then she answered the ad.
Yeah. It was
And
slow
Yeah.
going, man. It was slow back then. You had to write letters and read the
yeah,
paper. You couldn't just, DM people.
yeah, I
Tough,
mean,
Yeah.
tough to cheat back then.
yeah, but the thing is, she walks into the restaurant, he's already there, and they didn't get into a big fight because both of them were cheating.
Well, how can
Yeah,
you be
no,
mad when they both were cheating? So,
oh my God.
kind of cute.
I would have. Oh,
You
geez.
would have been pissed. You would have been pissed, but you were cheating too. Like, how could you be mad?
Yeah, but you see, girls can do these things sometimes and get away with things. Although I'm not into cheating, but it's just, uh,
Stark, it's one of those songs where the less said by the guys, the better.
Yes, right. That's right. Correct.
yeah, but folks, I mean, if you really think about this song, this was one of those niche songs of the 70s. And,
Mhm.
this song is, yeah, I understand it was the first song of 1980. I understand, but it was really a 1970s song. And
Mhm.
it fits squarely into the late 1970s. And, and it should be remembered because of that.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
I
mean,
was surprised that it was on this list because when I looked at it, I was like, "Oh my god, that's a '70s song." I was really thinking it was like a few years earlier.
yeah, I mean, Upside Down
Mhm.
is a 70s song too. That's a
Yeah.
79 song.
Yeah, a
And,
lot of 79ers are on here, right?
Yeah, because they crossed over in the 80s and were
Yeah.
still hits. So
but I mean, this 20, this 2211 is, I mean, it's really good. It's really good. This is a
so
good one.
Yeah, I agree.
This is the opposite from the last 10. The complete opposite.
Yeah, I agree.
all right, Tony,
Oh,
what do you think?
What can be said about that iconic intro to Cars? Just
yeah.
that was the beginning of the synthesizers.
Mhm.
That was that was some of my favorite synth sound right there. That just scratches the right wrinkle in my brain. I love the spinners. I'm working
Mhm.
my way back to you is a good cover, and they did it quite well. And what can be said about Escape that hasn't been said already? I'll leave a classified ad in the paper, and you can just get back to me on it. But yeah, this is a very solid list. I like Babe. It's not my favorite Stick song, but it definitely is worthy of being in the top 20. And anything by Elton John, in my opinion, is just great. So yeah, this seems right to me. This is pretty good stuff. It's right where it
Okay.
needs to be.
All right,
All
Heather, how about it?
right. Babe, the question is it Styx or is it Man of War? Rob? Rob Rob Wright thinks that Man of War sounds like Styx. So, have they ever been seen in the same place at the same time? I don't know. Could be.
Inquiring minds want to know, ladies and
Maybe
gentlemen.
Renegade.
Oh my god, could be, could be. Yeah, that the Pina Colada song, that's another one of those songs that like even aliens have heard that song and know all the words. Like it's just, they've come down here briefly and they're like, yeah, yeah, we
Yeah,
get it. We know the
We get it.
song.
We get it. You guys like to drink and cheat on each other. We get it.
Yeah. Another cheating song is Upside Down by Diana
Mhm.
Ross, which I actually love the music to that song. The
mhm.
words are super sus because I mean the guy's like a major cheater and she's like putting up with it anyway because he's apparently so good at a few things. But um the music, the bass line to that song, like, the production on the music is so cool. The bass just stands out so prominently in that whole mix,
Mhm.
and the
It
Nile
does.
Rodgers, the funk guitar, I love his distinctive funk guitar sound, that ding, 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 it's just so, like, I don't know, it's perfect. I really love and, it was overplayed, but I love the actual music of that song. I think it's really cool. Ride Like the Wind, yeah, like you guys mentioned, Christopher Cross, great song. Michael
Mhm,
McDonald, I love. It's
mhm.
interesting in the notes that I was reading that they dedicated the song to the band, a guy from the band Little Feat, who had died in 1979, and my best friend who passed away recently loved Little Feat, so I kind of found that to be an interesting kind of personal note. The Elton John song, I mean, to me, that's just kind of a B-rate song, and that whole album is B tier. For Elton John, it's just
It is.
not his
Mhm.
best at all. And without Bernie Taupin, I mean, Elton John's never bad, but this to me is just not his best at all. So, um, yeah, I wasn't into that. Air Supply was it's an okay song. Same thing, Spinners. It's a good cover. Four Seasons, I like. I think I actually like the Spinners cover better than the original. And then Cars, yeah. I mean, that's great. The first really synth sounding song. I mean, that I
Mhm.
think pop music too, but the singer said this was inspired by a road rage incident where someone like actually tried to drag him out of his car and he locked the doors and he was talking about how you're kind of in your own little world inside your car. You feel safe in there. So, I mean, that was interesting. I thought road rage was more of a recent thing, but apparently people were already pissed off in 1980. So, I guess not. I don't know.
Yeah,
Hey, you going for a Sunday drive here? Move your ass.
Yep, exactly.
I mean, you'd be pissed off too if you had to drive stuff like a '77 Pinto or something, which was a car.
Like, get that thing moving. Come on.
Yeah, exactly.
Sounds like somebody wants to talk to Mr.
Uh,
Crowbar.
God.
Yeah. So, for me on this, Babe by Styx, it's an okay song. It's not their best.
Yeah.
It was kind of the beginning of the end for Styx because Dennis DeYoung was really going off in a different direction than what Tommy Shaw wanted to do, and he was, he liked more of the ballads, and Tommy Shaw wanted to rock, and things came to a head after their next album that came out in 1983. It's still a decent song, but I don't think it's the greatest. Please Don't Go by Casey and the Sunshine Band, probably their last hit and not their best song. Upside Down by Diana Ross, I heard it again. It's okay. You're right. It is
Yeah.
a cheating song. I just wasn't really into it. It didn't really strike me. I love Ride Like the Wind. I mean, you're right. The Michael McDonald, it's fantastic. Especially since it's got lyrics of, going to Mexico, which is not that far from Austin. Little Genie by Elton John is not his best stuff. I agree. Without Bernie Taupin, I just don't think he's as good. I love Air Supply, Lost in Love. Beautiful song. Air Supply Greatest Hits is a fantastic album. A lot of real sappy love songs. This is where we're getting into some of the yacht rock that you hear, but it's still a beautiful song. I do like the Spinners, working my way back. Forgive Me, Girl. I do agree with Heather L. It's probably a little bit better than the Four Seasons. Even the Four Seasons, it was a staple of their concerts. I do like the Spinners version of it. Smokey Robinson, Cruising. I listened to that again. This is the end of his career, and it's not the best Smokey Robinson song. Gary Newman and Cars. It's great. I wish I heard more of his stuff. I wish more of it was popular. And then the last thing I'll say about the Pina Colada song is, why doesn't that work on my eHarmony? My goodness, I put that on there. I mean, come on, girls. Ladies, I mean, do you like Pina Colada? What's going on here? I still don't understand it.
You might be attracting ladies a little bit older than the range that you want with that one.
Probably. Yes, probably. So I need other stuff. Maybe I need Taylor Swift stuff on there. I don't know.
Ooh, no, you don't want to attract the Swifties. No, God, no.
No, I mean, that would be the end. That would be the end. I do have something to say about Elton John on that one.
Yeah.
Interestingly enough, in 1983, he released the Too Low for Zero album. And that album was absolutely strong. I mean, I would say, in my view, it's his best album ever. There's so much good. There is so much good stuff on there. It was well produced. It was well thought out. It was well. It was well sung. It was well promoted. It had so many videos that came out with him that just the production values were amazing.
He definitely has a resurgence later, and I think because the songs like on that album that you're talking about actually sound like he wrote a new album. Like this album to me just sounds like kind of recycled his old stuff, but not as good. And then in '83, he actually gets a new sound, which is really good.
Yeah, and I think Taupin comes back in '83, right?
Yeah, I think so. The lyrics,
Yeah,
yeah, I think so.
yeah, and it's like David Bowie too. I mean, he released Fame in 1980, which was, some people love that album, but in '83 he released Let's Dance, which was also strong, but
Mhm.
it turned off a lot of his fans, his bass fans.
Yeah, because he went for a different type of sound. So
I mean, that's also my favorite Bowie album is Let's Dance, but
Yeah, that's a great one.
that's a good one.
But
Yeah.
hey, Rob, we were talking in the last segment about band breakups. That Casey and the Sunshine Band, Please Don't Go song, they broke up shortly after that song was released. So I think that song was so bad that the band just said, nah, let's call it quits. We're done.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah.
The sun had set on that band.
Yeah. Yes.
yeah, but it gets worse than that. If you look at their stage costumes, I mean, they were even at that time period, they were directly out of like 1975 with
Oh
a
yeah,
giant collars. They had like 50 billion people on stage. I mean, they didn't keep up with the times.
yeah, absolutely. Hey guys, before we get to the best of the rest, I think Tony has to be leaving. You gotta take off, Tony.
I do. I was figuring I could go first, but yeah, it's already
Yeah.
9:03, and I do have another show that I
So
need to be prepping for.
I'll let you plug away here, buddy.
All right, I appreciate you for having me on. So let's go ahead and do this thing, shall we? Quiet. Let's go ahead. In approximately half an hour, Mr. Stark will be featured as the musical guest on Culture Casino. What song of his parody songbook will be broadcast to the greater YouTube sphere at large? Tune in and see. We will also be able to possibly do a stock party tomorrow. Keep your fingers crossed, and hopefully we will be able to accommodate a live stock party after breaking out of YouTube jail. Also, we will be hanging out with Snowdub, covering the inauguration of the 47th President of the United States of America, bright and early at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thank you for hanging out with us today here, and now we are going to get back to our broadcast, currently in progress. Thank you.
Thanks, Tony.
Night, Tony.
Appreciate it, guys.
Thanks, Tony.
I will go ahead. And I will say of the ones coming up, number 9, number 8, and number 2.
Yes, all good songs, and none of the 3 make you want to go to number 2. So
Yeah, nobody wants to go to number 2. God
Yep.
bless you guys. I'll catch you all on the flip. Thank you again, Robert.
All
This
right,
is
see
always
you,
so
Tony.
fun. Oh, I almost forgot. Hangar 18 on Groundhog Day. We'll be discussing Judas Priest, their discography. Same time as
Oh my
we
God.
gather here. So, yes. See you all in a few.
see you, Tony.
Later.
So when was this on September 8th? What was that with Judas Priest?
Yeah, it's he does this Hangar 18 where he does metal bands, and Judas Priest is gonna be the featured one. So Age of
Oh,
51,
yeah,
you
you
get the
should- Okay.
invites to those. So
Yeah, you need to come
that's-
do that. Talk
yeah.
about Judas
Oh
Priest.
yeah, Judas Priest. It's one of my favorite.
Yeah. Hopefully, we won't be repeating ourselves
Yep.
over and over again because it's Groundhog Day. That we're doing that.
Yeah.
We need to look at like 100 through like 40.
Yep, time to go back in time and go look at the
Oh my
140.
God.
All right, which one of you two wants the first crack at the 100 through 40?
Yeah,
You know,
go
I
ahead.
get. Yeah, okay.
You
If
want
I
it?
find-
Go ahead.
Go ahead. Go for it.
Yeah, me okay. Number 100. Hey, look, 100 Refugee is an amazing song. That is my favorite Tom Petty song. It should be much higher than this.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, look at all this good stuff. 94 Tusk. Tusk is
Yeah,
amazing.
Tusk.
Oh
Another
my
cheating
God.
song, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, although the music video doesn't. Well, I mean, it's just different. With a USC marching band.
Yes. Who recorded it with them live?
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was a great touch.
Mhm.
I mean, look at the stuff, and then one of my favorite songs up here, and it should be much higher, is "Heartbreaker" by Pat Benatar.
Yes.
Mhm.
Absolutely amazing. That should be in the top 10 in my view.
Yes, made famous by George Steinbrenner and George Costanza, but
Mm.
until
And,
Was
you know,
it?
Joe.
and then you had some other stuff. You may be right. Great song by Billy Joel. I mean, stuff like "Dim All the Lights." I've never heard of that one, but
Ah, it's a
it's
great
okay.
disco song.
I
Come on.
know.
Mhm.
Another one. I mean, number 66, "Fame." Oh my God, you're gonna hear my name. This is great. Irene Cara, who recently passed.
Mhm.
I mean, I love this song. This is a song that it's that transition between disco and pop
Mhm.
into the 80s. It was from that TV show Fame.
Mhm. I'm gonna
Yeah,
live forever.
Yeah.
I'm gonna learn how to fly high.
Hi.
I'm gonna live forever.
I
Yeah.
mean, okay, I used to watch that show in reruns. I love that show. And stuff like, I mean, from the Eagles, for example, 62, I Can't Tell Why You. Not their best, but pretty good. All Out of Love is a much better than the other. It's the other Air Supply song on here.
Yeah.
And then of course 51. I mean, Against the Wind by Bob Seger and the Silver Bullet Band. I mean, that is an amazing song.
Mhm.
I mean, it should be much higher, much higher. And other things like Send One Your Love by Stevie Wonder. It's beautiful. I mean, these are songs, I mean, that really stand out to me.
Mhm.
But although, especially the Pat Benatar song, Heartbreaker, and Refugee is the one that I would say, yeah, I mean, they need to be much higher.
Mm.
So
Yeah.
that's my little rant for there. But one through 10 is amazing.
Yeah. All right, Heather, what's your
Uh,
guess to
I
the rest?
I love Heartbreaker. Pat Bennett, that's a hard
Oh my
rocking
God,
song.
yes.
Like she's not even soft rock or she's like that's
Mhm.
almost a heavy metal song with that dun 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 dun. The beginning is just
Yeah,
heavy. It's awesome.
Heather, I don't know
Mhm.
about you. You put those notches in the lipstick case.
That's right.
That.
I'd love to put them notches in the lipstick case. Good stuff.
Mhm.
Um, yeah,
I
so
don't get that reference, but okay.
I think Rob, the best one, right, is Stomp, the Brothers Johnson, which was written for our green friend, right? I'm
Yeah. Yeah, maybe we need that one on Friday.
I think
Uh,
Stomp, man, it was an instant classic. Yeah, so I actually like Michael Jackson, and I think this Off the Wall album was a peak for him. Like he's nearing, to me, this is almost on par with Thriller. I love She's Out of My Life and the song Off the Wall. So he's got quite a few on the chart from that album. The Eagles album came out, so they've got I Can't Tell You
long
Why
run.
in the Long Run on here, both good. I actually like Donna Summer. I like On the Radio better than Dim All the Lights. To me, it's such a romantic song. The idea that they found like this love letter in a pocket of a coat, right? It fell out of a coat she was carrying, and they read it on the radio, and she recognizes it. And plus, I mean, I shamelessly love disco. I think it's great. Got to get out the high heels and dance the night away. Good. I'm all into that.
So
Tom
you'll really be
Petty.
excited when we start to do the 70s, right?
Oh yeah, I'm disco fever man all the way. Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers have both "Don't Do Me Like That" and "Refugee." I like that. I also like Prince. "I Want to Be Your Lover." It's from
Mhm.
his Dirty Mind album, and that came out before he was kind of big, hit the big pop stuff in Purple Rain. But Dirty Mind, a lot of dirty songs, obviously, but it's actually a really good album. It has a more funk sound to it than his later pop sound that he got when he got really popular. You may be right, man. It just may be a lunatic you're looking for. That's one of my favorite Billy Joel songs off that Glass Houses album.
Oh yeah,
Like you,
Glass House is excellent.
yeah, great album. Like you already mentioned, Pepsi One already mentioned, Bob Seger Against the Wind, Tusk, a lot of good stuff. I will say a couple of different type of albums that came out this year. Tom
Yeah,
Waits,
go for
Heart Attack and Vine was a fantastic album that came out.
it. Mhm.
Ozzy Osbourne's Blizzard of Oz came out in
Mhm.
1980.
Oh really?
Yeah, the Jacksons' Triumph is actually a really good album. I like the Jacksons, and this album was I'm surprised no songs are on the chart because they're way better than Jermaine's solo stuff. It had
Mhm.
"Can You Feel It," "Walk Right Now." "Lovely One" was a huge hit. It's got Michael singing the main vocals on it. "Heartbreak Hotel." So he was huge this year because he sang most of the vocals on the Jacksons album, which had a ton of hits, and then his Off the Wall album had a ton of hits as well. Um, and then for SP4H, Stevie Wonder, "Hotter Than July," the song "Master Blaster." I know that that's not the
Mhm.
Master Blaster he likes, but another great song.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with you guys on a lot of this. So, Refugee, obviously, Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers, wonderful song.
Mhm.
Monday Nine, All Night Long by Joe Walsh. He did some of his solo in between some of the Eagles. And there are segments in Eagles concerts where Joe Walsh can do some of his solo stuff. And this is a popular one that he sometimes does. Uh, he had all the drinking songs, which fit his personality and fit everything. So that's another great. I love Joe Walsh's solo stuff. It's just
Mhm.
fun, kind of bar kind of songs.
Yeah.
The Tusk. You guys mentioned that with the USC, but the thing I
Mhm.
love about Tusk is that opening drum beat by Mick
Mm.
Fleetwood is such a
Oh
heavy
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, amazing.
which is so awesome. And it's interesting because, oh my goodness, all the cheating and all the craziness of Fleetwood Mac.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, it's crazy.
Yeah.
And if you go look at some of their songs, half of them are about each other. So, and this is kind of about them and about the cheating. It's kind of crazy. But "You Decorated My Life" is another crossover country hit from Kenny Rogers. Um, Let me see what else. "Wait for Me" by Daryl Hall and John Oates. I
Mhm.
know Agent Pepsi One doesn't like Hall and Oates, but that's a decent song.
Yeah,
"Sarah"
I
by
thought it
Fleetwood
is.
Mac. Sarah by Fleetwood Mac. Some interesting stuff about Sarah. So Sarah is all right. So this came from Don Henley. He speculates this, but he and Stevie Nicks were in a relationship for a while, and she had an aborted baby.
Ooh.
And supposedly the name of the aborted baby would have been Sarah.
Mm.
So take that for what you will. That's
Mm.
what I read in an article about what he thought Sarah was about. But Sarah is also her best friend, so she would have probably named the baby after it. So there are all kinds of crazy stories about Stevie Nicks. So take it for what you get. Love Supertramp. "Take the Long Way Home." Good
Oh
song.
yeah, that's a good one.
I like that one. And then another crossover country hit, Eddie Rabbit, "Driving My Life Away." "Ooh, I'm driving my life away, looking for a better way. Oh, me." Donnie Warwick, "Deja Vu." I agree with you guys. Pat Benatar, "Heartbreaker's" great.
Oh
I
my
don't know
God,
why it's
yes.
so low. The Eagles, "The Long Run's" a good song. Um, let's see. Uh, what else is on here? "You May Be Right" by Billy Joel. Yes, very, very good. "Glass House" is an excellent album. Um, "One Fine Day," Carole King is a remake. Genesis, "Misunderstanding." Oh my goodness, this is
Oh,
one of
yeah,
their
yeah. Great song.
Mhm.
first great songs. I mean, I love that song. I
Mhm.
mean, it was so Phil Collins had just broken up with his wife, and part of the Genesis and his first album all have a mixture of his raw emotions from that divorce. And I love this song. The video is kind of interesting because they're driving around LA and he's looking for it. I love it. I love the downbeat, the do 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 do. There must be some misunderstanding. And then there's
Mhm. Da-da-da-da. Yeah, that's a great
yeah,
song.
I love that. Don't Do Me Like That, Tom Petty. It's great. Fame, you guys have already mentioned. I do like. I can't tell you why. It's the first time they let Timothy B. Schmidt sing,
I
and
like it.
Timothy B. Schmidt had just taken over for Randy Meisner as the bassist from Eagles, for the Eagles, and he came over from Poco, and he's just got a pretty voice, and I think it's a really great song. Such a beautiful one. Pete Townsend, Let My Love Open the Door. Great
Yeah.
song. I think it was a little bit overplayed, but I think it should be higher on this because
Yeah.
that was a very popular song. You're Only Lonely by J.D. Souther is a very beautiful song. J.D. Souther wrote a lot of great hits and died recently. He was a main contributor to a lot of Eagles songs, and he had just a wonderful writing career. He was a great writer. This is one of the few songs that he sung. I can't leave off one of my favorite bands on here, Little River Band. They're known for yacht rock nowadays, but Little River Band had some really great songs. Cool Change is probably my favorite Little River Band song. Of course, you probably know their most popular one is probably Lonesome Loser, which is another good one. But Cool Change is a really, really beautiful song. It's my favorite Little River Band song. Definitely check that one out if you haven't heard it. All Out of Love by Air Supply is another one of their great ones. They had so many hits like that. I mean, they had just so many right in a row. 80, 81. I mean, Air Supply just ruled the records. On the Radio by Donna Summers. Okay. Against the Wind is a great song by Bob Seger. I don't know why that's not higher on here as well. Let's see. Heartache Tonight by the Eagles. I love the drum beat that Don Henley puts on that. That's always a good one. That's a great one in concert to listen to as well. And then I can't forget this one. This song should have been the top 40. I don't know why it wasn't. I talked about this one, sending out stuff. Brass and Pocket by the Pretenders. I know that, we mentioned
that should have been much higher.
NBC, but gosh, Brass and Pocket is just a great song. I love that song by the Pretenders.
Yeah, great album. This year they released their first album, right? The Pretenders. Isn't this off their first album?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Good.
I mean, I think Brass and Pocket's one of the best songs on that album. I mean, it's just great stuff. So, but yeah, that's my opinion on the top 100. Yeah, a lot of good stuff this year. A lot of transition. So, all right, let's get into the top 10. Here we go. All right. At number 10 is The Rose by Bette Midler. Number 9, It's Still Rock and Roll to Me by Billy Joel from Glass Houses. Then number 8 is not a song about Fort Worth, even though we sometimes call it Funky Town by Lips Incorporated. Number 7 is a Paul McCartney song. I guess he was coming up in this album, but it's coming up. Number 6, Crazy Little Thing Called Love by Queen. Number 5 is a song that all the ladies sing to me after a night. It's Do That To Me One More Time by the Captain and Tennille. I mean, I hear this song so often. I mean, what can
you
I
have it
say?
memorized? You got it memorized?
Number 4 is Michael Jackson with Rock With You, which is a very popular song. Olivia Newton-John comes in at number 3 off the Xanadu soundtrack. Got to Believe We Are Magic. Pink Floyd hits the top of the charts at number 2 with Another Brick in the Wall Part 2, which was popular with school-age kids. And Blondie really wants attention, so she told everybody to call me. She's number 1 with an awesome song, Call Me.
Okay.
What do you guys think of this top 10? Who wants to go first?
Oh, awesome.
Sounds like you do, Pepsi. Go ahead.
Yeah, okay, I'll go first up. But I'm going to start with number 1.
Yeah.
Call Me by Blondie. With the titled song from American Gigolo.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's just an amazing song. It is rhythmic. It is fast.
Mm-hmm.
It fits the time. It is in ways futuristic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I love this. It is a reversal of what they had before, like Heart of Glass, for example.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's just beautiful. I mean, would I put it at number 1? Probably not. I'd have it somewhere in the top 10. But I mean, it's amazing. Another Brick in the Wall Part 2. I mean, that is an anthem. That is that is an anthem. It's one of the greatest rock songs ever written. And they're I mean, it's been covered so much. I mean, there's some cover bands called, for example, the Pink Project does a version of this, and it's from the early '80s, and they basically do Pink Floyd on steroids.
Oh
Um,
gosh, really?
yeah. Oh, it's on YouTube. It is amazing. It is an amazing video. It's done off the German TV show Disco. So that's, I
Really?
mean, it's pretty. Yeah, I mean, it's beautiful. It's beautifully done. Um, Olivia Newton-John. Yeah, I mean, Xanadu. Uh,
Mm.
I mean, look. I mean, disco music was dying. Everybody knows it. This is a nice song. It is a
But
nice
that
song.
wasn't even good disco. I mean, I wouldn't even call that disco. It's just kind of lame.
Yeah, I mean, it is a crossover attempt. Is what that is. It's a music. The movie was lame too.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, but I mean, it takes what 2 years when they start trying to think about a movie to make it.
Hmm.
So, I mean, if you think about it, the movie came out in '79. They started thinking about it in '77. At the height of the disco era. I mean, I can see it. The next one, Rock with You. I mean, come on now. I mean, that's
No, it's great.
laughable.
It's
Oh,
great. Rock with
that's
You is great.
that is
Michael,
laughable.
no, Michael Jackson was was just the shit back then, man.
He
Come
was
Yes.
not
on.
the shit. No,
Yes,
I
he
mean, but
was.
no,
Yes,
no,
he
no.
was.
Yeah, he was.
You all are nuts. I mean, you're
No, and
No, he was big. He
no,
was
he was
huge.
so huge then. And this was such a huge album off the wall. I
Mhm.
mean, he was so popular. The Jacksons were all still popular. And this is before he turned into a weirdo, man. He looks great. If you see him on this video, it's before any of the plastic surgery. He looks like a
okay.
real person.
Mhm.
His voice, I mean, he can sing. He sings when he does
Yeah, I
this
mean,
live, I mean, he could actually sing. Um, he's just a natural performer and dancer. I think he's great.
yeah, I mean, I've never been a Michael Jackson fan, but okay. I mean, Captain Tennille. I don't recall this one.
Do that to me one more time. I can never get enough of a
Okay,
man like you. I
no,
just know it because all
now
the
I know
ladies
it.
sing it to me. I mean, yeah.
Okay, I mean, okay, good, good. This one I understand. But Crazy
Uh,
Thing Called Love, amazing. Um, Funky Town from Lips Incorporated, and it was
Mhm.
one of those one-hit wonders.
yeah.
Mhm.
It's still rock and roll to me is absolutely stunning.
Mhm.
I am a Billy Joel fan, and I think this is one of his best.
Mhm.
And I think the only song for me that tops this one would be from the Nylon Curtain, "Pressure," which I think is,
Pressure is awesome in concert, by the way.
oh my God, it's just extraordinary.
Mhm.
Yeah, now Bette Midler, "The Rose," I mean, okay. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't have it there. I'd have it at like 122 or something. Yeah, but no, I mean, look, this
Oh
is good.
God.
I mean, this is good. These are okay. I mean, this is Billboard, and it's not about. I guess it's not really about taste. It is about money.
Hmm.
And
Mhm.
what is being forced to play. And quite frankly, I can see them playing Magic. I can see this. I mean, it's about money.
Yeah, the
I can.
studios could give him money to
Yeah,
play it. Sure.
Mhm.
I can see. Bette Midler. I mean, she is a established artist. I can see them playing this because of that. Paul McCartney, obviously. But some of
Mhm.
the other stuff is just, it's just, yeah. And I don't think American Gigolo made that much money. Did it break even?
It couldn't have been that expensive to make. I mean,
I don't know.
I don't know. It was a popular movie. It was
Mhm.
it was
Oh,
popular.
okay.
Yeah.
I've seen it once or twice. I mean, with Richard Gere.
Yeah, it was popular.
Mhm.
Yeah, this is nice. I mean, I do enjoy these. I think this was, these top 40 were a good. They were a good mix this time. Other than was that 21 to 30? Oh God.
Yeah.
I just
Yeah,
can't wait
that was
for
that was
1989.
the weakest portion. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
All right, Heather, you got it.
Yeah. So yeah, Blondie's "Call Me." I absolutely love that song. It's only on the American Gigolo soundtrack. It's not. It wasn't on released on an album. I really love Debbie Harry's voice. She said
amazing.
she actually watched the film, an early version of the film before it was released to get to write the song, and she said that it was inspired by her impressions of watching the film in the opening scene when he's driving down the California coast, which I thought was interesting because, like you said, it does kind of sound like it has a different sound than her other songs.
Yeah, I
It's a
mean,
different tone. Yeah. Um, this was I thought was funny. They started out the recording with the band playing it, but the producer didn't really think they were good enough, so he re-recorded it with studio musicians, and the band was kind of pissed off. It also has Harold Faltermeyer on keyboard, which is an interesting note. "Brick in the Wall" is a great song, like you said, I mean, can't say enough
hmm
about Pink Floyd. I'm just an amazing band, one of the greatest bands of all time.
hmm
Magic, yeah, I'm not impressed with that at all. Not one of Olivia Newton-John's best. The movie was kinda cheesy.
cheesy is another.
Um, yeah. Uh, Rock With You, I love Michael Jackson. I think he's great, a great talent. This, a funny thing about this song, it says that it was actually offered to Karen Carpenter, and she turned it down, which, like, I don't know if that's even true. I mean, that just I can't see that at all. That's pretty odd. Captain and Tennille, this was so funny. As when I was a little kid, like every single music group had their own variety show, which Captain and Tennille did. So like Sonny and Cher way back, and then the
Mhm.
Osmonds did, and um, God, there was another group too. It just seems like every like kind of singing group had their own little TV variety show. And I remember when I was a real little kid, Captain and Tennille was like a thing on TV. It's pretty funny. I don't really like them. I do think the lady is a good singer, but the song doesn't really do anything to me for me. Funny note though, she said that she wrote this actually about her husband, obviously what he was doing, but that he didn't know because he never paid attention to the lyrics. So he didn't even know that she was like complimenting him. It just, I don't know. I think that's funny. He would must have like been, used to not paying to attention to her at that point because he didn't even know he was getting a compliment in the song. So kind of funny. Queen, amazing. It's got a great that guitar in there, the 50s sounding guitar, written by Freddie Mercury as a tribute to
hmm
Elvis, which is another great Queen song. Paul McCartney. I'm sorry, I don't know. This might be like not good, but I'm just not a fan of McCartney's solo work. I don't know. I think this song is kind of boring and just doesn't do anything for me. Billy Joel, kind of like we talked about, great album, Glass Houses, love it. The Rose, yeah, I think it's a really pretty song. Bette Midler's a good singer. I'm not really a fan of her music, but I do think this song is really pretty. It's from the movie The Rose. It plays at the end. I thought it's kind of interesting that the movie was supposed to be about Janis Joplin, but her family would not give over the rights to her story to have the music made or the movie made. So they just generalized and fictionalized the story and made it about, a rock singer struggling with alcohol and drugs. But I never saw the movie. I didn't know that it was originally intended to be Janis Joplin. So now it kind of makes me want to actually watch the movie. But, another interesting note on that, Amanda, McBroom wrote the song. She's actually a songwriter and an actress, and she was in Star Trek TNG: The Measure of a Man. She
Really?
played the judge who presides over Data's hearing, which I thought was, really interesting. I never knew that either.
Very cool. I didn't
Yeah,
know that either.
yeah.
I Need the Rose. My mom had that album. Pretty song. Bette Midler has a pretty voice. I just don't really care for her all that much. I didn't know it was about
Yeah.
Janis Joplin. Janis Joplin from Port Arthur, Texas, who was classmates with former Cowboys coach Jimmy Johnson. So
Yeah.
I don't know if you knew that, but
No,
yeah, they
I
were
didn't.
classmates.
I didn't know that.
But it's a pretty song. It's still rock and roll to me. Is Billy Joel's first number one. He only had 3 number one hits, and this is one of the 3 that he'll still play live. The other 2, he plays one of the other 2, but he doesn't play the other one. So this one was number 1. The next one that hit number 1 was "Tell Her About It," and then the third number 1 that he had is "We Didn't Start the Fire." So he'll still play "We Didn't Start the Fire," and it's still rock and roll to me. He doesn't ever play, the other number 1 because he can't hit those notes anymore, just because it's such a high song. I don't know if you guys knew that or not. "Tell Her About It" is just too high for him to sing, so he stopped singing it a long time ago. I don't think he's sung it since like the early '90s, but it's still rock and roll to me. It's a great song. "Funky Town" is great. I think it got a remix later on into more of a dance beat, but this is a really good song. Great one-hit wonder. It's in several movies. "Coming Up" by Paul McCartney is not that great a song.
It's terrible.
I agree with you guys. I think I like some of his earlier stuff with Wings, maybe because it sounded a little bit more like the Beatles, and I think this was just kind of just not quality. "Crazy Little Thing Called Love" is a great song. I love the 50s kind of version that they went for with this with Queen. I thought it's really good. Queen also had another soundtrack album that didn't show up on any of these lists. Do you guys know what that was? Do you know what the soundtrack album was?
Flash Gordon.
Flash.
Yeah.
I don't know why that wasn't number 1. No, I'm just kidding. But "Crazy Little Thing Called Love" is a great song. I think Freddie Mercury's voice is fantastic on this. I love the thing that I love most about it was like there's the little where they go a cappella and they start snapping their fingers a little bit for part of it, which I thought was really, really good. That's what I love about that song. "Do That to Me One More Time" is probably one of the last hits Captain and Tennille had. It's okay. "Love Will Keep Us Together" is probably the most famous song. I'm not a big Captain and Tennille fan. I just thought it was funny that I added that ad lib in there. "Rock With You" by Michael Jackson's a good song. I'm sorry, Agent Pepsi 1, but this is his breakout album, and I thought "Rock With You" was one of his first hits. It's totally Michael Jackson. It sounds great. I think he does a great job with it. I love Michael Jackson. "Magic" is an okay song. "Xanadu" is a weird movie. It is weird. It is beyond weird. Yellow does some of the soundtrack. The Xanadu song is good. The best song on that soundtrack is the ELO song "All Over the World," which if you watch the video from Xanadu for that, you'll understand why the movie's so freaking weird. But Olivia Newton-John's a hottie. I thought she was beautiful, but "Magic" is not a good song. "Another Brick in the Wall" is great. It's overplayed, but "Another Brick in the Wall" is a great album. So many good songs, but I will tell you one of the ones that doesn't get played enough on that album is "Goodbye Blue Sky," which is a very pretty song on there. I particularly also like "Empty Spaces" and "Young Lust," but also "Comfortably Numb" is on that as well, which is a great song. But "Another Brick in the Wall" is a classic. And then "Call Me" by Blondie.
My God,
I think the other aspect that we haven't talked about this song is just the transition into that kind of heavier, poppy kind of rock that put it all together. And I think "Call Me" just kind of defines that. I mean, it's where they're going kind of in the 80s a little bit,
Right.
to me. And, if I look at the 80s overall, the transition that we talked about, "Call Me" kind of sends us back into the rest of the 80s that we've already covered. What do you guys think? Would you agree on that? The "Call Me" kind of does that?
Yeah,
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say "Call Me." I mean, it's if you would have said, "Hey, Tasha, when did "Call Me" come out?" and I would tell you like 1983, 1984. I mean, it would be well placed, I think, in that style. And what you said about Olivia Newton-John, "Magic," I remember my sister having a VHS tape of Xanadu, and she must have been like 12, 13.
Mhm,
And she liked it because she liked to go roller skating. That was her,
mhm.
that was her thing. And I mean, for a 13-year-old, I mean, if she was 13, I was 7. You know, 7-year-old girls, yeah, I like the colors. I don't think I understood the movie at all, but I
Yeah.
mean, but I enjoyed that aspect of it, but I haven't seen that in probably 30 years. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, but I think Magic fit the movie, and if
Yeah,
the
it fits the
movie takes
movie.
yeah, and if the movie takes 2 years, from the beginning of the production to final release, yeah, I mean they started in '77. This was a song that would have went well with, say, the Bee Gees, Tragedy, and stuff like that.
Mhm.
Yeah, the Bee Gees were awesome though.
Yeah, they
They
Tragedy
were
was
were.
great.
Yeah, I mean they were much better than this, but I'm just saying, this style of song,
More of that style of song.
yeah,
I think Xanadu is a
would
better
have went well
song
with it.
than Magic, though.
Yeah, but we all know why it's number 3 here. I mean,
Because
Well, it
Olivia
was in a
Newton-John's hot.
movie,
I
so
mean,
it's
come
gonna
on.
get a lot of play. They're gonna play it a lot, and Olivia
yeah, I mean,
Newton-John was
exactly. I
popular,
mean,
and yeah, it's just gonna get a lot of radio
yeah,
play.
I mean, exactly. I mean, like I said, I mean, it wouldn't be up. It would be someplace in the top 100 for me, maybe like 75 or something like that. But it certainly wouldn't be number 3.
Yeah.
No,
I mean,
probably
I would
not.
have, I would have refugee in there. I mean, which is great. That lyric. You must have been kicked around some.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
Tom
I love
Petty has
hearing that.
fantastic lyrics. He's one
Yes,
of
he
the
does.
great lyric writers, just all his songs.
Well, though, here's the other thing that helped Tom Petty and later on in the 80s. His big album, like in 85, 86, was produced by Jeff Lynne, and Jeff Lynne helped write some of those songs too.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah, and
Won't Back Down and a couple others that were co-written by Jeff Lynne, and he helped produce it. So, it's amazing. If you go back with when we talk about the 70s, we'll have ELO hopefully in there a lot. And ELO is one of my favorite bands. And Jeff Lynne really, when ELO broke up, he really helped some other artists get back in and really get back to successful albums. So Tom Petty, George Harrison, and even oh gosh, what's his name? That's on the tip of my tongue. He's another Wilbury, Roy Orbison. Before he died,
Yeah, yeah.
his last album was produced by Jeff Lynne. So Jeff Lynne really is a fantastic musician, one of the best musicians
Mhm. Oh, I
overall
agree.
of all time, just
I
because of
agree.
his talent in so many different areas. But his mark is felt on a lot of these artists. But
Yeah,
all
yeah. I
right,
mean,
Yeah. No,
you know,
interesting though, like you said, that Call Me just sounds totally 80s, but then like
mhm.
mhm.
against Captain and Tennille, that sounds so 70s.
Oh
Oh,
So
yeah,
mid
it's
oh
just
yeah,
seventies,
really
mid
absolutely.
a mix
seventies.
of so many of these songs on here, you'd go, oh, like the Pina Colada, you go, oh my God, that had to be 78,
Yes.
79. And then some
Mhm.
of the like this, Funky Town, Call Me, pop music, you'd go, oh yeah, that's early 80s. So there's a distinct difference in there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
but where is ELO in here? Didn't they have this CD that came? Well, I mean, it wasn't an album back then, but it had like the science fiction theme where they
Mhm.
talked about flying to the moon, and it talked about this robotic girlfriend. Wasn't that
Mhm.
1980?
I don't remember when that album
Oh,
came
yeah, I
out, but
can't remember.
you had some of his songs had the disco beat, like "Shine a Little Love, Light in My Life."
Hmm.
So
Yeah, I mean, I remember. I'll have to look at it, but I remember. I thought it was 1980, but I'm probably wrong on that. Because I mean, it talks about the good old 1980s in the songs.
mhm. Yeah, but "Hold On Tight to Your Dreams," I don't think was this yet. I think it was further on down, but anyway, anything else on this top 40?
I mean, it was just amazing. This one was amazing.
Chat, what do you guys think? Do you like the top 40? Was there any songs in the top 40 that the chat likes? Let us know.
Was this a good one? Was this a I like the late 80s. I know Pepsi's not as much of a fan, but I think the late 80s were good too, but there were some in the middle. This was a good year. Like I don't know,
Mhm.
81 I didn't think was quite as strong. Some of the middle stuff, but this is a good one for sure.
Yeah, I mean, 82, I think 82 and 83, 84. Those were amazing. 81, okay, but just wait till we get to the 70s.
Oh yeah, yeah. The
I'm
swinging
gonna put on my
70s.
bell bottoms. I'm gonna get.
You're actually gonna get a camera so that we can see you
Yes.
put on the bell bottoms
Get
and
your 70s, put a flower in your hair, right?
Yeah,
Little
I might. You know, I have a
Or some
sun. I have a,
fringe.
hey,
Fringe outfit.
I have a sundress that belonged to my mom. It was from like 1976, 77. Hey,
Nice.
I might even wear that.
Nice.
wait. All right. Well, hey, it's time to plug away. So, Agent Pepsi One, do you want to plug away for your channel or for anything you've got coming up?
Well, I mean, I'm still working on my channel. YouTube has been kind of strange. I have some copyright strikes I have to be really careful of right now.
Mhm.
But yeah, I mean, I'm just working and I have little time.
Mhm.
So, but I am posting things. I have some new stuff to put on the channel. I just haven't done it yet. But it's coming. And keep tuned because there's some really good stuff coming.
Mhm.
Um,
Sweet.
yeah, I mean, that's all I have.
And then Heather, I know you're Wrench. You're not a YouTuber,
Yeah,
but
I'm not a YouTuber, but come come hang out with me in the chat on Doomcock's channel at Pop Culture Breakdown and Friday Night Frolics. And then back here Sunday with you, Rob, when we're going to talk about Band of Brothers. Looking forward to that.
yep. All right. So yeah, coming up on my channel. So as promised, it's taken me forever because it's taken forever for me to do the slides, but Flash Gordon will be done probably tomorrow or Tuesday. So I'll finally have that video out there for you. Next Sunday, Heather and I are going to talk about episode 2 of Band of Brothers, where we get the Normandy invasion and get to talk about some interesting stuff that's still used today from that invasion. Also, Pop Culture Breakdown on Wednesday on Doomcock's channel. Should be a lot of fun. Got an interesting movie that you guys, The Silent Partner. I don't know if anybody's seen that. If you haven't, it's a really good movie. Check it out. Try and find it. Then coming up on this channel, particularly, we've got next month, we're going to do the top 40 hits in 1989. And then in March, don't forget, ladies, it's our own top 40 of the 80s, where we'll compile at least one top 40 hit from every year of the decade, even though
Oh my
Agent
God,
51
yes.
doesn't like it. And then anything else from the top 100 from the decade for the rest of the 30s. So each person will have their own 40 songs that we'll go over and present to you. We'll even see if we can get it early enough to probably put playlists in the live stream and the stream, so you can maybe click on our playlist to listen to some of the songs that we love that are our top 40 or our 40 favorite songs of the 80s. So we got that coming up. And then in April, we'll kick off the 70s with 1970, and we'll just go straight through the 70s and disco and rock it out on my channel. So I hope you guys are having a lot of fun. Let me know what you thought in this in 1980, what you thought of the stream, what you liked about the channel. Please like and subscribe. The stream is going to be up on my channel as well. So please share it if you thought this was good information. If you thought this was a fun chat, share it with people that you know that might like this. And thank you so much for being here. We just thank you so much as the audience. All right, any last words, ladies?
Bye.
Yeah, bye.
All right, we will see you on the next one. Everybody, take care.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.